I'm Kishan, and in this video we are going to create this amazing cryptocurrency gaming website template. So without wasting any further time, let me give you a demo of this and let's get started. So this is our navbar here. So when we hover over this links, we have this hover effect. Then we have this custom scroll bar here. Then we have this awesome background image here, and on top of that we have our content here. Then this is the buy and sell section, and you can see that whenever the page scroll height is more than 100, the scroll to top division appears and it fades away. When we click on this, it would scroll to the top. Now this is the blocked section, and when we hover over this, we have this hover effect. This is the footer. When we hover over these links, it also has the color change effect. So this is also responsive, and this also has animations, scroll reveal animations. So let me reload the template. As you can see that the animation appeared. Now let me show you the responsiveness. So this is the mobile version. I'll set this to G4. Now we have this responsive navbar here. So as you can see that the template is fully responsive. Let me switch to the responsive mode and increase the width. Okay, so that's it. Now without wasting any further time, let's get started. So now let's get started and set up our React application. I'll open a new terminal and I'll write npx create react app, and we'll write at latest here, and we'll write the name of our application, which is script game. This may take time. So our React application has been successfully set up. Now head over to the source. I've already copied the assets that we need. You can find this in the video's description. Now let us delete the files which we don't need. We don't need setup, then this report web vitals, then this logo.svg. We also don't need the app.css and app.test.js. We'll delete those. And inside the app.js, we are going to clear out all of this, and we'll write rfc to create the component, and we'll just write and hello here. Save this. And also in the index.css, we are going to delete all of this code, and in the index.js, we are going to remove this import and this function call. Save this. And now let's start our application by yarn. Before starting the application, let's also install the dependencies we need. So I'll write yarn add styled components. Then we need the scroll reveal library, and we need the React icons. So our dependencies has been installed. Now let's start the application by yarn start. Hit enter, and we'll close the terminal. It should open a new window in the browser. Wait for a few minutes. Okay, we don't need this. We'll start it manually. We'll type localhost :3000. Okay, so our application has been successfully set up. Now let's do some stuff. So first will create a JSON config.json file in the root directory. Now in here we'll first write compiler options. It's compiler options, and we have the base URL to source, and we're gonna write a new property as include, and we'll write the source. So this is for the absolute imports. I'll explain it when we are using this in the components. Just write it for now. I'll close this, and now we are gonna create a folder named as components, and we are gonna create some components that we need in the app. So first we'll create the navbar.jsx. We'll write RFC. We'll also import style components. I'll just copy this line so we don't have to copy it again and again. New file. Then we'll write home.jsx. I'll again write RFC. Paste it the style components. Now we have the buysell.jsx, RFC. Then we have the blocks.jsx. I'll write RFC. Then we have the footer.jsx, and then we'll be having an scroll to top. It's scroll to top dot jsx. Sorry, it is jsx. Right, RFC. Then at the last we have this designs dot jsx. All right, RFC. Save it, and now head over to the index.css. Here we'll just write some basic styles. So first we'll write root, and we'll create some variables. First is the background color, which is hashtag 01002A. Then we will have the primary color, which would have the value as hashtag FED700. This is a yellow color. Then we have the HR color, which is hashtag C4. Then we have the font family. We'll just have this as empty string now. So let's grab the font we need from fonts.google.com. We are going to use the EXO font, this EXO, and we are going to grab this 300 style, the 500, and the 400. Okay, so we'll use this import, copy this, and we are going to paste this to the top of our index.css. Now we'll also copy this, and we are going to paste this into the font family variable. Okay, so the font is done. Now let's have an star selector which would select all the HTML elements. Now we'll give margin of 0, padding of 0, and a box sizing of border box. So basically what this does is this will reset all the margin and padding of all the HTML elements. So I'll just give you a demo of it. So here you can see that this hello text has the basic margin and padding. So when we save the file, it is going to be removed. let me save this. So as you can see that it is removed. So we are gonna resetting this margin and padding. Now we'll select HTML and give it a scroll behavior of smooth for the smooth scrollings. Now we'll select the body and we'll apply white color to all the fonts. Then we'll give it a background color of variable background color. Then we'll give it a font family of var font family. Then we'll select the button and give it a font family. Let me copy this from here. So the button, the styles in the button doesn't apply for the font family, so we have to give it in the button selector. Then we'll select the WebKit scroll bar and we'll give it a background color of transparent and a width of 0.2 rem. So these changes would not be able to be so you won't be able to see this changes now. You have to follow along the lecture to see the changes. We'll give it a border radius of 1 rem. Also we'll give it a background color of variable primary color. So that's it. So our basics base setup has been done. So now we'll style this navbar. So now I'm gonna import the logo from assets and the logo.png. So I talked about the base I talked about the absolute imports. So this is the absolute import. If we didn't had used the absolute import, then we had to write double dot and then we have to write this assets and logo.png, but instead we are using the absolute import, so we don't have to write that. Now we'll write flag, we'll import the flag from assets flag.png. Now we need an fi lock from react icons fi. Then we will need bs toggle on this ss small, and we need bs toggle off from react icons bs. And now we are going to create an styled component named as nav is equals to styled components dot nav. Now let us write the markup. Also we are gonna import an useState here, and we'll create an state for the navbar. Nav state set nav state is equals to useState of false. This state is for the responsive navbar when we toggle the navbar and we toggle off the navbar. So this would be maintained by this state. Now let's replace this, and in here we first have a brand, then we have the logo. The logo would be src, it would be this logo. Now we have the toggle class. Here we'll use that nav state and will conditionally render the components. So if the nav state is true, we are gonna render the BS toggle on button, not button, the icon. And when we click on this, we want to set the state, the nav state, set nav state to false. Save this, and we are just gonna copy this, and when the value is false, we are gonna render the off and will set the state as true. Okay, we have an error here. Let me figure that out. We need to close this and we'll write another bracket here. Okay. Okay, that's done. Let's see that. So we have to import all of these components in the app.js. I forgot that. Let's do that quickly. First we have the navbar, then we have the home, then we have the buy sell, then we have the blog, then we have the footer, and at the top we will be having the scroll to top. Save this. We have this bunch of errors. Why is this not working? I think we have to write this, yeah, because this is in the same directory. Yeah, the error is solved now. It cannot resolve assets logo.png. I think we need to restart the server. Okay, so those errors are gone. Those were coming because we created the JSON config file after starting the server. So for it to load, we have to restart the server, and we can also remove this dot slash. It would work perfectly now. You can see that. Now let me show you that state. Okay, so that was for this. So this is being maintained. Okay, so let's head over to the navbar.jsx, and after this div we have another div with a class name of links. This is this. We are having string interpolation here, and when we have the nav state as true, we are gonna have the show class and have the hide when we have the false. So we are not gonna style this now. We will style this when we are styling the responsive section. Now inside this we have ul. Inside ul we have the li and then href. This is home. This is home. We are gonna copy this, paste it 4 times. This is gonna be map. This is gonna be contact, and this is gonna be news. Then after this we have the login button div. Inside this we have the flag div. Inside the flag we have img src, and the source would be the flag. We'll write ls flag, and we have span of English. Save this, and after this div we have the button. Inside button we have the fi lock icon, and now we'll write login and registration. Save it. So our markup is done. We have to style the component. Let me shorten this so you can see. Now let's start the styling. First we'll write display flex. I think we have to import styled. Yeah, we had to import style. It is working now. It should work with the style components also. Display flex. Yeah, it is working, but for the IntelliSense we are going to use the styled, not the style components. Styled. Yeah. Now we are going to write justify content of space between. We are going to give a margin of 3 rem and 6 rem to left and right. Now we'll select the brand and select the toggle first inside, and we'll give it a display of none for now. Now we'll give it a display of flex and align items of center. We'll select the logo, select the image, give it the height of 5 viewport height, and that's it. Now let me have this side. Now we'll select the links, give it a display of flex, align items of center, justify content of space between. We need space between. We'll give it a width of 60%. We'll have the UL. Inside the UL we'll give it a display of flex. This is for this. Then we'll give it a list style type of none. We have gap of 2 rem, and we'll select the li and give it a padding of 0.5 rem of top and bottom, and 1 rem of left and right, 0.5 rem. Then we'll have the transition, 0.3 seconds is in out. Then we'll select the A and give it a text decoration of none, and we'll give it a color of white. Then we'll give it a font weight of bold. We'll give it a transition of 0.3 seconds is in out. And now we'll select the first of type. We'll give it a background color of variable, primary color. Save it. You can see the changes, and we'll give it a border radius of 0.3 rem. I think we should apply the border radius to all of these. Yeah. And the A tag inside this would have a color of black. Yeah, that's looking good. Now let's do the same for the hover. I'll just write ampersand hover. Okay, that is working. So this is styled. Now all that's left is to style this. Now after this we have the login btn. We'll give it a display of flex, align items of center, justify content of center as well. We'll give it a gap of 2 rem. We'll select the flag, then give it a display of flex, then we'll justify content center, gap of 0.3 rem, align items center, font weight would be bold, and what is left, also we'll give it a cursor of pointer to the whole div. And now we have the button. We'll give it a border 1 pixel solid, where primary color. Now we'll give it a background color of transparent. We'll select the color and give it a white. We have the border radius 0.3 rem. We have the padding of 0.8 rem. Give it a display of flex, not flex direction, but justify content center, align items of center, gap of 0.7 rem. Then we'll give it a font weight of bold. Then we'll give it a cursor of pointer. We'll select the SVG, give it a font weight of bold, font size of 1.1 rem. Okay, that's it. So our navbar is completed. We'll just verify it. Yeah, it's complete. So now we'll create the home section. So now we'll start creating the markup for our home component. Firstly, we'll replace this with styled. Then I'll create a section, style section, and I'll just replace it with the section. Then I'm gonna pass an ID to this section, which would be home. And now let's import the images we need. Import background from assets, background.png. Then we'll import the image from assets and home.png. Then we are also gonna create a new component. uh, it is a button component. It would be reusable in many places. Button.jsx rfc import styled from style components. Okay, we are going to create the markup for this later, but first let's finish the markup for the home. Then I'll import the button, and then we'll need an icon which is ri group line, and now we have an text inside the section. It has an h1, then it is in span with an class name of highlight. We are going to copy this and we'll write earthium inside this and the normal text outside of this. Now we are going to create an p tag where you can earn money. We'll paste the span. Inside the span we'll write crypto and we'll paste the span again. We'll write NFTs. Then we'll write by trading land, finding treasures, and building business. Welcome. Let me save this and see the content. Okay, we have to fix this in the button.jsx styled from style components. Okay, it's correct now. Now after this p tag, we are gonna have the button. Button has the text as join our Discord, and it has an icon of the ri group line. So these are the props which we are going to pass to the button component. Then we have an image which has the image tag, and we'll pass the image here. I'll write the alt text as home image. So yeah, the markup is done. Now let's start styling this. First we'll write background image. It would be URL, and in this URL we are going to pass our background which we just imported. Yeah, we'll pass background repeat to no repeat. We'll give background size of contain. Now we are going to give it background position of center. Now we'll give it a display of grid template columns of 50%, 50%. Save this. We'll give it a height. And we'll give it align items of center. Now we will select the image. We'll set the image and we'll set the width to 80%. Yeah, so the image is fixed. Now we'll select the text. We'll first give it a padding of left of 10 rem. Then we'll give it a display of flex direction of column, a gap of 1 rem, and align items of flex start. And we'll select the highlight and give it a color of primary color. We'll select the H1, give it a font size of 4.8 viewport width. We'll select the P, give it a font size of 1.5 viewport width. So the text is almost styled. Now we are going to create this button now. Let's head over to the button.jsx. So this will be an reusable component. This would be used in many places. So we are gonna import some default icon, which would be BS arrow, right? Short from React icons BS, yeah. Then we are gonna have props here, and we will destructure the icon and text from the props, and if icon is triple equal to is undefined, we are gonna have the default icon as our BS arrow right, which we just imported. This will be an btn. This will be a style component. We'll create it later. Here we'll pass the icon and the text. Now we'll create the const btn is equals to styled components dot, it's styled dot tn, it's button. I'm gonna remove this import. Head over to the React app. Yeah, our icon is here and the text is also here. Now let's style this button. Background color would be primary color. Padding would be 1 rem to top and bottom and 2 rem to left and right. We'll give it a border radius of 0.3 rem. Also, we don't need an border. Then we don't need an outline too. We'll give it a display of flex, justify content of center, align items of center, and a gap of 1 rem. We'll give it a font weight of bold. Also will provide a cursor of pointer when we hover over this. Now let's select the SVG inside the button and give it a font size of 1.1 rem. Save it. Yeah, so our home section is styled and our reusable button component is also styled. Now let's create this buy and sell section. Okay, so now let's head over to the buy and sell. Here we'll replace this with styled. We'll create a section, style section. Save this. We are going to replace this divs with our section, and we will provide an ID here, which would be we don't need to provide an ID here. We'll apply it to the individual buy and sell section. We'll just import the images. Buy sell 1 from assets, buy sell 1.png. I'll copy this, paste it 2 times, and I'll replace this with 2 and with 3, and here I'll do the same with 2 and 3. Now let's write the markup. I'll give it a row. Inside we have an call with an ID of buy sell 1. Inside this we have an class name of text in h2. I'm gonna copy the content of the h2 from here. I'll paste it, and we will have a span. We'll copy this and paste it here. I'll remove an extra space, and I'll do the same for here. Span, I'll have it here. We don't need this extra spaces, and after this we have another column, so we are going to copy this, copy and paste it 2 times. We are just going to replace the ID here to 2 and ID here to 3, and I'm going to copy the text from here. And before the virtual resources, I'll write a span right here, and I'll do the same for the business. I think we don't have a span here. Yeah, we don't need the span. Okay, now we'll copy this, paste it here, and we have the span on the rack. The span, yeah. So we also have to include the image after, no, not after the text, but before the text, to the image buy sell 1, and we'll write the markup alt text as buy sell. I'll copy this. This would be after the text. it will have the buy sell 2, and here we'll have it before the text, and this will have buy sell 3. Save this and we'll just check our markup. Yeah, it's ready. Now let's style this. We'll give it a margin of 6 rem to top and bottom and 10 rem to left and right. We'll select the row, give it a display of flex, gap of 8 rem, and we'll give it a flex direction of column. We'll select the call, give it a display of flex, justify content of center, justify content of center, align items of center, gap of 2 rem. We'll select the image, give it a height of 60 viewport height. We'll select the H2 and we'll give it a font size of 3 rem. Inside the H2 we have the span, and we'll give the span a color of variable primary color. Yeah, it's looking good. We just need to provide a space here. Yeah, so our buy and sell section is completed. Next we'll do the block section. Let's head over to blocks.jsx. We'll replace that with styled. We'll import the block images, which would be block 1 from assets, block1.png. Copy this 2 times, and we are going to replace with this block 2 and block 3. I'll create a const section which would be in styled dot section. I'm gonna replace this with section, and I'll also provide an ID of blogs. Now let's select the title. H2, we'll give it news and feeds. I'll select H5 and here we'll write where you can on crypto. Save this. Now after this div we have an blogs div. Here we are going to map, I just forgot to create an variable array. It would be images, and it will have the blog 1, blog 2 and the blog 3. Now we'll create it, images.map. It will have the image and the index. This is an arrow function. Return the markup. Don't forget to write the return here. If you don't write return, then this map function will not return anything, and you will have the blank markup here. We'll have the blog. We'll also supply a key here, or else it will throw an error in the console. We'll write image. I'll give it source as the image. I'll write blog image here. Then we have the data. I'll give it a date. This would be fixed when Jan 2022. then we have an HO. The content would be copied from here. You can write anything here. Copy the P from here, paste it, save it. So our markup is completed. Let's check it here. Yeah. Now let's style this. I'll give it a margin of 4 rem and 10 rem. Give it a display of flex direction of column, align items of center, and a gap of 2 rem. I'll select the title, give it a display of flex direction of column, align items of center, and a gap of 0.3 rem. Before saving this, I'll show you the title. It is here, and after save it has been changed. Now let's select the blocks, give it a display of flex, gap of 5 rem, save it. Now I'll select the block, give it a display of flex, line items of center, and I will provide a gap of 1 rem. Also we will provide flex direction of column. We will supply background color of RGB BA 0, 0, 0 and 0.3. So this would have an dark color. Border bottom would be 0.5 rem transparent and solid. When we hover over this, we want this border to be the primary color. We'll give it a transition of 0.3 second. Is in out, and when we hover over this, we want the border color to variable primary color. Yeah, it is there now. Now let's select the image. We will give it a width of 99%. We'll select the data, give the padding of 1 rem. We'll select the gap and we'll supply 1 rem of gap. Now let's give it a display of flex and flex direction of column, so the gap would be applied. Select the P inside the data, we'll give it a font size of 0.9 rem and font weight of 100. Let me remove the ch. Yeah, so our block section is also styled. Now we'll create the footer. I'm in the footer component and I have already imported this logo from the assets, the button, and I have changed the style components from style, and I have imported some links. This could be found in the video's description. You can also code it by seeing in the screen. Okay, and then I have created this foot is equals to style.footer and replace the divs as foot. Now let's provide it an ID of footer. I think we don't need an ID. We'll just have the div with the class name of upper footer. Copy this, paste it, and this would be the lower footer. So we'll have the markup for the upper footer first. We'll have a brand which would have an image. The source of the image would be the logo. Then here we'll write footer logo. We'll have an P. The content of the paragraph would be this. Paste it. After this we have an mail container which has an input of type text. It's email, not text. The placeholder would be enter email, and then we have the button. Button has the text as get started. We don't need this. I'll just close it here. Now we'll map the links. I'll destructure the title and the links. Have it here, return the markup. We have a div with a class name of links and the key would be title. We'll return the h3 with the title. Then we have an UL. We'll map the links. We'll start map. We have the link here that goes to the markup, and we passed li. This would have the link, and we'll pass a key here. This would also has the link. We don't need to write the return here because it is only in one line, so the map function will auto return this. Save this and I'll show you the changes. Yeah, it's here. You can see the map function auto returned it. Now let's go to the lower footer. We'll have the span. We'll copy this content, paste it here. We'll have an UL. It would have li with Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Okay, I think I messed up. /li. LinkedIn is text, not a component. I need to remove this. Yeah. So our markup is complete. Now let's style this. So first I'll give it the border top of 0.02 rem. With a solid and variable of primary color. I'll provide it a margin of 5 rem, 0 rem, 1 rem, and 0. I'll select the upper footer, give it a margin of 0 and 5 rem. Display of grid template columns of 3 FR, 1 FR, 1 FR, 1 FR. Why are the changes not applying? Yeah, I think because no, everything is perfect. Also the margin didn't apply. footer border top. Let me comment this. Okay, this is working. Okay, this is also working. Did this work? Okay, we messed up the class name, I think. Upper dash footer. Yeah, now it's working. Now let's give it a gap of 3 rem. Padding top of 3 rem as well. Now let's select the brand. Give it a display of flex direction of column, align items of flex top not center, gap of 1 rem. We'll select the image and we are gonna give it a height of 2 rem. Then we'll select the mail container, give it a display of flex, align items of center, gap of 1 rem. Now we'll select the input, give it a padding of 0.8 rem and 1 rem, border radius of 0.3 rem. We will cancel out the border, and when we focus over this, we don't need any outline. Now we have a button. We'll give it a padding of 0.8 rem and 1 rem, and I'll give it a gap of 0.5 rem. Yeah, so the brand section is done. Now we'll select the links, give it a display of flex direction of column, gap of 1 rem. Now we'll select the H3, give it a color, where primary color. We'll select the UL, give it a display of flex direction of column, gap of 0.8 rem. And we'll select the LI, give it a cursor of pointer and a transition of 0.3 seconds is in out. And when we hover over this, we'll give it a color of where primary color. Yeah, it's working. So this is done. Now let's style the lower footer. Lower footer, we'll give it a margin of 5 rem. We'll give it a display of flex, justify content space between, this between, border top of 0.02 rem, solid, where primary color, padding top would be 1 rem, margin top would be 1 rem. We'll select the UL, give it a display of flex, this style type of none, gap of 3 rem. We'll select the LI, give it a transition of 0.5 seconds is in out. We'll give it a cursor of pointer and when we hover over this, we'll supply a color of where primary color okay. So our footer is also completed, so we are almost completed. Now we'll add the scroll to top. Now let's go to the scroll to top and replace this with styled. I'll import an icon which is AI outline arrow up from React icons AI. I'll create an styled div section. No, it would be styled dot div. I'll replace that div with this. Inside it has an href with the class name. We'll apply this class name afterwards. Inside this we have the AI outline arrow up. Okay, so the markup is done. Now let's style this so you can see it. I'll select the A inside this, give it a position of fixed. I'll give it the bottom of 10 pixels and right of 10 pixels. As you can see, that arrow is here. Now we'll supply it a background color of vary primary color. We'll give it a padding of 1 rem, border radius of 100%. We'll give it a display of flex, justify content of center, align items of center, transition of 0.4 seconds ease in out. Save it. I'll give it a z index of 1, so it would be top on the top of every component. Then I'll select the SVG, give it a color of black, and I'll supply it a font size of 1.3 rem. Okay, so it is working. Now we'll have another class of none, and we'll give it an opacity of 0 and a visibility of hidden. Now when we click over this, it is going up, but we need to hide and show this based on the scroll height of the page. So let's do that. I'll import the useState hook, useState, and I'll create an state here of visible and set visible is equals to useState, and initially this would be false. Now we'll create an event listener on the window object. Whenever we scroll, we want this function to be called. I'll write window.page y offset is greater than 100, then we'll set visible to true, or We'll set visible to false. And now we'll have the class name here. So whenever the visible property is true, we don't want to return. Now we'll write here as block, and when we have false, we'll give it a none. I think removing this would work. Yeah, it is working. So you can see that there is this fade in and fade out effect. Okay, so our scroll to top is also done. Now we'll add some various designs like this. So now let's import the styled from style components. Now we'll also import the design files from the assets. I'll copy this 7 times, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This would be 2, this would be 3, this would be 4, this would be 5, this would be 6, this would be 7, and we need one more, and this would be 8. Now let's create a styled section. It should be div, not a section. Because there would be no content inside this. Now we'll write image design 1. It would be design 1, and the class name would be design 1. We'll also replace this with this so it's easier to copy. Copy second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. Now let's replace this all. This would be 2, this would be 3, this would be 4, this would be 5, this would be 6, this would be 7, this would be 8, and it's complete. So we also need to import this in the app.js. It would be at the end. No, it should be on the top. I think it should be after home because all the designs would be after home. Yeah, so all the designs are here. We need to style this and place it in the proper positions. So now let's head over to the designs.jsx, and here in the style.div we are gonna give it a position of relative. Select the image and give it a position of absolute. Now we'll select the design 1, give it a right of 0, top of 7 rem, and we'll give it a width of 12 rem. We'll select the design 2, give it the left of 0, give it the top of 4 rem, and the width of atrium. Select the design 3, give it the left of 0, top of 32 rem, width of 8 rem. We'll select the design 4 and we'll give it the right of 0 and give it the top of 60 rem, width of 8 rem. I'll select the design 5. I think we should copy this, paste it, paste it, paste it. This is 6, this is 7, and this is 8. Now design 5 has a left of 2 rem and top of 85 rem and a width of 6 rem. Now the design 6 has a right of 0, top of 78 rem and the width of 12 rem. Design 7 has a left of 0, top of 100 rem and width of 8 rem. Design 8 would have a top of 105 rem, width of 8 rem and a right of 0. So all these styles have been applied and you can see all the designs are in place. Yeah, so design section is complete. Now we'll make this responsive. So you can see this, that this is not at all responsive. We'll make this responsive first. Head over to the VS Code. So now let's head over to the Navbar, and after this we'll write in media screen and min width of 280 pixels and max width of 1080 pixels. Initially we'll apply display of none so we can see the responsive changes. I'll go to the home. I'll do the same for here. I'll give it a display of none. Then I'll go to buy and sell. And I'll do the same here. Then we have this blocks. Do the same and in the footer. For the designs, we are going to give it display of none and we are not going to change this, and I think the designs would have this as 1140 pixels. Yeah. Okay, so changes are not being applied. I don't know why. Media screen, min width and max width. Okay, I misspelled this. We are gonna have to replace this. Search it and we'll replace it with yeah, replace all. Okay, so the display is none. Now let's start styling the navbar. So we are going to create a responsive navbar. So let's head over to the navbar.jsx and initially what we are going to do is we'll give it a position of relative and margin of 0. Let me shrink this so you can see. And now it is not responsive. We'll select the brand, give it a padding of 2 rem and 1 rem. Justify content space between, width of 100%, and we'll give it a Z index of 2. We'll select the background color as where background color. This would be dash dash, not 00. We'll select the toggle and give it a display of block. Select the SVG and give it a font size of 2 rem. Now we'll select the links. We'll give it a position of absolute. Save it, so it would be top on this. We'll give it a background color of black. We'll give it a margin top of 5 rem. Then we'll give it a width of 100 piece viewport width. Then we'll also give it a padding of 5 rem of top and bottom. We'll give it a transition of 0.4 seconds is in out. We'll give it a gap of 2 rem. Select the UL, give it a flex direction of column, gap of 1 rem. We'll select the login button, give it a flex direction of column as well. And I think we should also apply flex direction of column here. Yeah, that's good. Now we'll select the shoe, give it a top of 0, and when the height is applied, we'll give it a top of minus 600 pixels. Okay, let's test this. Yeah, this is working great. I think we need to fix this padding. So on the brand, we need to remove this padding top. Yeah. So our responsive navbar is completed. Now let's bring the home section back as the responsive. So I'll go to the home.jsx. And instead of this none, I'll go to display of flex direction of column reverse, and I'll give the height of max content and margin of 0 and 1 rem. Now I'll select the image, give it a width of 100%. I'll select the text, give the padding left of 0, give it a display of flex direction of column, align items of center. I'll select the H1, give it a font size of 8 viewport width. Select the P and give it a font size of 5 viewport width. Yeah, so the home section is styled. Now we'll go to the buy and sell. Buy sell, and here instead of this, first we'll give it a margin of 2 rem and 1 rem, select the row, give it the gap of 2 rem, select the call inside and give it a flex direction of column, give it a text align of center, text align, then we'll select the image, give it a height of 10 rem. We'll select the H2, give it a font size of 1.5 rem. We'll select nth of type and select the second, and we'll give it a flex direction of column reverse. Yeah, so the buy and sell section is styled. Now we'll head over to the blogs.jsx. Instead of this, we'll give it a margin, not top, the margin of 2 rem and 1 rem. Select the title. Let me scroll this down. Yeah, this would have a font size of 2.4 rem, and the color would be where primary color. Now I'll select the blocks, give it a flex direction of column and a gap of 2 rem, save it. Okay, I need to select H2 inside this title, not the entire title. Yeah, so the blocks are styled. Now all that's left to style is the footer section. So let's head over to the footer, replacing this, save it. Footer is back. Get a margin of 2 rem and 1 rem. We'll select the upper footer and we'll give it a margin of 2 rem, 1 rem. Give it a display, flex direction column, padding top of 1 rem. We'll select the brand, the mail container, give it a flex direction of column, align items of flex start. We'll select the links, UL, list style type of none. Yeah, so the upper footer is styled. All that's left is the lower footer. The lower footer, so the lower footer will have a margin of 2 rem and 1 rem. We'll give it a flex direction of column reverse, gap of 1.5 rem. We'll select the UL and give it a flex direction of column and a gap of 1 rem. So yeah, we have completed the template responsiveness, and this template is completely responsive now. So all that's left to add in this template is the animations, and this template would be completed. So let's add the animations now. So now let's head over to the app.js, and here we are gonna import use effect from React, and we are gonna import scroll reveal. Now let's use the use effect. When the page loads, we want this use effect to run only once. We have this const register animations function, and we want to call this we have an const sr is equals to scroll reveal, and we'll pass some default arguments. The origin would be bottom, then the distance would be 80 pixels, duration would be 2000 milliseconds, which is 2 seconds, and we don't need a reset of the animations after it loads. Now we are going to reveal first the nav, then the home section, then we need the buy sell. Make sure that you don't have any spelling mistakes here, because this won't work if you have any kind of mistakes, and it would not give an error also. Then we have blocks, and at the end we have the footer. After this, we'll pass an object with an opacity of 0 and an interval of 200 milliseconds. Save it. Yeah, the animations are working. Now, while doing this, I had a bug. Okay, why this is not working? I think we missed in something in the blocks.jsx. Let's head over to the blocks.jsx. Min width and max width are correct. Okay, this block should be inside this. Yeah, we fixed that bug. Now the animations are here, but I just found a bug. Whenever we have this and we have the animation, the Z index would not apply. So for this, what we'll do is, I found the solution. I'll go to app.js, and whenever the animations are loaded, we will set a timeout on window.set timeout, and will have the home is equals to document get element document.get element by id, and we'll select the home from here, and we will have the home.style.transform equal to none, and we'll give it a 1500 milliseconds. Okay, it's document. Okay, so this is working now. And what is this error? I think this is from the footer. We missed something in the key. Key is title, and here the li is key. So I just found out the issue. We have to write link instead of links here, and here the title would be this. Save it and let's refresh the page, and now we won't be having any errors. Okay, so the errors are fixed and the template is also complete with animation and responsiveness. Okay, so thank you for watching this video, and if you learned a lot from this video, please like the video and make sure to subscribe to the channel. Thank you. See you in the next one.